You might just mean the east side next to where she's located. Try that. Hi. Intrin
Speak your
Lethan.
needs.
No, I don't want to join the temple. Hello, books. This is locked. Oh. He definitely sees me.
Tidings.
Surprisingly, no one seems to be attacked on sight. I kind of thought the Ordinators were mad at me. Eris Tails. Telas.
Freshest ingredients in
I
town.
believe we've talked to you a while ago. So maybe I need to go on the side, on the east side. Did I bother you with a distraction? Thank you.
Business.
Damn it. Why are you looking straight at me? What did I ever do to you? Go on about your business. But like over here. I don't know what causes them to turn to me sometimes, but I would really wish they would turn to me right now. Woo! Alright, well. That's not gonna work. New options then. Do I currently have an invisibility spell? Because if I do, there we go. I may be able to use it because of the fact that I have invisible. It's illusion, right? What's my illusion at? 649? It's not terrible. It's not great. Let's find out if it works.
Good to see you.
A crime has been reported. Maybe no one cares because I'm invisible. Spooky! I don't know if they were even going to try to attack me, honestly. Hey, Sariani. Thank you for coming, Pat Yelchin. You know the temple doctrine of the Nerevarine. Perhaps it is time to change that doctrine. Click, 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 click. Yay! Maximum friendship achieved. The temple must protect the people from the false doctrines, and your association with the Imperial Intelligence makes your motivations and integrity suspect. But you have been chosen Hortator and Nerevarine by the Dunmer people, and we have reached a crisis with Dagoth-Ur. We can no longer defend the people against the awakened Sixth House. You and your prophecies may represent our last hope. Our situation is desperate, but I would rather have you hear the details of our situation and the circumstances leading up to that situation from Lord Vivek himself. He has asked to see you. Would you agree to a private meeting with him and hear in person what he has to say? Yes. Good. Here are 2 keys. One to the private back entrance to my quarters. The other is a locked entrance to Lord Vivek's palace. I regret that, at present, the Ordinators are not completely under my control, so, for now, I'll ask you to avoid confrontations with them. Lord Vivek is expecting you. His lordship is remarkably patient, but perhaps it would be better not to keep him waiting. Okay. Is the back entrance right over here? Like, can I sneak out that way, then? Let's ask about your opinion of Dagoth-Ur. He's an evil and mortal enemy. Dwells in the caverns of fire rent. Yep. I think that's the usual stuff, more or less. If I asked about Vivek, Lord Vivek is the poet. Lord Vivek the poet is one of the 3 immortal god kings of Morrowind, a pillar of the Tribunal, and the patron of artists and rogues. It's so weird that the god characters are alive in this universe.
We welcome you.
Are they at least long living enough to justify that kind of worship? Or do we just like really creepily have like self-important people? Hey, we got spear knowledge. I completely forgot that spear is even a skill in this game, or even a weapon type in this game most of the time I'm playing this game. Basically until the exact moment I find another book that gives me another skill on it. Wow, light armor and armor smith. You have a lot of books I've never found before. Get you. Congrats. This is the private key. Am I safe here? Let's go into sneaky mode. There we go. You can't see me. I'm invisible. Ah! No one seems to actually care that I'm here.
Wealth beyond
Hi.
measure, Outlander.
I don't think anyone actually cares right now that I'm here. That's fine. Have I been in here before, though? You probably have super books, right? Look how big these books are. You got so many books. I take it back. Your books are super lame. None of them made me a better person or anything. I love that. I love that, incredibly stupid way of measuring that kind of thing. Long hallway means this is an exit. There we go. I still get turned around inside those structures because we spent pretty much the least time in there. Oh yeah, someone pointed out that shielding equals 1 armor. So there's no special power here. I thought it might be a different thing, like maybe armor gives you percentage-based reduction and maybe shielding gives you a flat damage reduction or something like that. Like in Dragon's Dogma. Ugh. But it seems like there's no real reason to wear these gauntlets. Stick with my grass stuff. I mean my glass stuff, not my grass stuff. Do I really still have Dark Brotherhood Greaves? Really? Are there not glass greaves, or am I just somehow not finding them? Because I'm still wearing Dark Brotherhood Greaves this late in the game. Really feels like I should have found something else by now. Ah, well. So is the idea that I now have access to this exact door, which I could have lockpicked a second ago, I suppose, but then maybe Vivek wouldn't have been happy to see me. Oh, he's just here, on his own. No one else is here to stop me? Alright. You just alternate between... He just kind of takes turns between floating and not floating, like he can only just do it for a little bit longer. Maybe he's practicing doing it longer and longer, like it's, maybe he's practicing it like he can't quite get it down. Oh, he doesn't do it when he doesn't think... Oh, never mind. I thought he doesn't do it when he can't see me. So he has some different animations he loops between, where he looks around and stuff. It's just one of them involves floating over and over again, and when he loops them back to back, it looks like he's just having trouble staying up. Plan to defeat Dagoth Ur. For the past 20... Oh, wow, that scrolls fast. Okay. For the past 20 years, the Tribunal have tried unsuccessfully to execute this plan. However, we failed because we were required to stage an assault and simultaneously maintain the ghost fence to prevent the threatened large-scale breakout of Dagoth Ur's blighted hosts. With the Narrow Varine leading the assault, the Tribunal free to devote their full energies to maintaining the ghost fence, this plan has a greater chance of success. Unfortunately, however, the loss of the artifacts, Sunder and Keening, and the recent increase in Dagoth Ur's strength poses new problems for the execution of this plan. Therefore, our proposed plan has the following 5 phases. A series of aggressive raids to scout inside the ghost fence. A series of aggressive raids to neutralize Dagoth Ur's ash vampire kin and recover artifacts from the bodies of his kin. An assault of Gate Citadel Vaminal to neutralize Dagoth Vaimim and recover the artifact hammer Sunder. An assault of Gate Citadel Odrosal to neutralize Dagoth Odros and recover the artifact blade Keening. The assault of Citadel Dagoth with the artifacts Wraithguard, Sunder, and Keening to sever Dagoth Ur's connection to the heart of Lorcan and thus to destroy Dagoth Ur. Phase 1. Raids inside the ghost fence. The Tribunal, Ordinators, and Buoyant Armigers are familiar with the terrain and will provide maps and current intelligence reports. The region inside the ghost fence is dangerous, and the Narrow Varine will need to be familiar with its particular challenges. After measuring skills and resources against Dagoth Ur's defenses, the Narrow Varine will know better how to pace a campaign, alternating raids with improving skills, getting better equipment, and stockpiling resources. Raids upon Ash Vampire Citadels. Phase 2. Dagoth Ur's kin have become markedly more powerful in recent decades. After remaining stable for thousands of years, if they can be individually isolated and destroyed, they will not be able to support Dagoth Ur in later stages of the war. It may also be that the dramatic increase in their power comes from items enchanted by Dagoth Ur. Salvage of such items may contribute to our resources. Phase 3. Assault on Gate Citadel Vaminal. Essential to recover the artifact hammer Sunder for Phase 5, the Ash Vampire Dagoth Vemin has has possession of Sunder and probably seeks to discover the secrets of its enchantments. He may also have access to notebooks and journals of Kagranak that have survived in the Dwemer workshops of Vaminal. Phase 4. Assault on Gate Citadel Odrosal. Essential to recover the artifact Blade Keening for Phase 5, the Ash-Vampire Dagoth Odros has possession of Keening and probably seeks to discover the secrets of its enchantments. He may also have access to notebooks and journals of Kagranak that have survived the Dwemer workshops of Odrosal. Phase 5. Assault on Citadel Dagoth. All the previous stages are precautions for this stage. Recent expeditions show that Citadel Dagoth has undergone extensive expansion. The location will need to be explored carefully. The known route to the Heart Chamber will be well defended. Alternative routes may exist. Dagoth Ur will have anticipated our plan to destroy him by attacking the Heart and will almost certainly personally oppose approach to the Heart Chamber. Together, the Tribunal could not defeat him, and he has grown stronger since then. Admittedly, the Tribunal had the distraction of maintaining the Ghost Fence, simultaneous with fighting Dagoth Ur, but even so, the challenge seems daunting. The adoption of this phased campaign seems to offer the best chances for success. In retrospect, the Tribunal's decision to directly assault Citadel Dagoth rather than proceed step by step through lesser objectives must be seen to have been a serious error. The Tribunal did not feel it had the option of a slow-paced and deliberate campaign, given that they had many other competing priorities, not the least of which was the maintenance of the Ghost Fence and outer defenses surrounding Red Mountain. The Nerevarine, on the other hand, should be best served by a careful step-by-step advance, with the additional advantage of building confidence along the way while successes would undermine Dagoth Ur's own assurance in his defenses. Employing Kagranak's tools against Dagoth Ur. The source of Dagoth Ur's supernatural power is the heart of Lorcan. The heart is also the source of the Tribunal's divine powers. During mystic times, the god took and hid Lorcan's heart beneath Red Mountain as a punishment for creating the mortal plane. The Dwemer discovered the heart while building underground colonies. High Craft Lord Kagranak created enchanted tools intended to tap the power of the heart. The War of the First Council was fought to prevent this sacrilege. Kagranak's use of these tools and the disappearance of the Dwemer race marked the end of the war. Kagranak's tools were recovered by Lord Nerevar and Dagoth Ur. Dagoth Ur was left to guard the tools while Nerevar came to consult with us, his advisors. In Nerevar's absence, the Dagoth Ur experimented with the tools upon the heart and was corrupted. We returned to discover a deranged Dagoth Ur who refused to turn over the tools. When he attacked us, we drove him away. Kind of reminding me going back to, actually, like, stuff like, in Inquisition characters like, wow, what was his name? Corinthius? Corypheus. Holy crap. I'm losing his name over time, the super memorable villain of the game. But somebody that goes mad with power, tapping into magical stuff that everyone else basically is like, no, don't do that. We left Red Mountain with the tools, and subsequently, Sotha Sil discovered their secrets. Collectively, we used the tools to establish a connection with the heart, enabling ourselves to transform our mortal natures. Thus, we became the Tribunal. Oops. It's a long document for one page. So supposedly, there's like one page of paper. Dagoth Ur has survived our attacks, and without the tools in a manner not well understood, Dagoth Ur also managed to establish a connection with the heart and to transform himself into an immortal being. Our plan to destroy Dagoth Ur also runs the risk of destroying the Tribunal. The plan is to permanently disrupt Kagranak's enchantments upon the heart, severing connections with Dagoth Ur and ourselves and rendering us all once again mortal. Immortal Kagranak may then be destroyed by mundane means. The loss of godhood and the possible death of the Tribunal are judged a necessary risk and sacrifice. A normal procedure for establishing connection with the heart is a 3-step process. The wearer of Wraithguard strikes the heart with a hammer sunder, causing the heart to produce a pure tone. Then the wearer of the Wraithguard strikes the heart with the blade keening, shattering the pure tone into a prism of tone shades. These tone shades are then imprinted upon the substance of the wearer of the Wraithguard, giving him an immortal and divine nature. Is that what's going to happen to me, then? The Nerevarine will not be taught the secret rituals required to perform the third step. Instead, the Nerevarine will strike the heart with keening for a second time, causing its tones to diverge into unstable patterns of interference. Further repeating strikes with the keening will further disrupt the tones, with the ultimate result of shattering and dispelling the Kagrenak's original enchantments, binding the heart, thereby severing heart's links with Dagoth-Ur, and with any surviving heart wights, and with the Tribunal. Destroying Kagrenak's enchantments on the heart will also stop the corrupt diffusion of the heart's divine power and end the blight on Morrowind. So it seems like I could become enchanted if I were to do the third step, but that may have been part of what drove Dagoth-Ur mad in the first place, and that's like the whole problem to begin with. So they're gonna try not to tell me about that at all, and maybe Dagoth will specifically try to tempt me with that information or something. The Nerevarine may be tempted to steal the power of the heart. Dagoth-Ur and Sotha Sil alone know this secret. Dagoth-Ur may, in extremity, propose to teach the Nerevarine to use Kagrenak's tools to become a god. We doubt that the Nerevarine is fool enough to trust Dagoth-Ur, and are content to take that risk. Some faith in me, look at that. We haven't even talked yet, and they have faith in me. They have this whole... By the way, we haven't even talked yet. They have this incredibly elaborate plan already set up, so they've clearly been planning on having us work together, despite the fact that I'm being invited here by somebody who has essentially openly talked shit about me. So I guess that he's just a politician talking shit about me for popularity's sake, because they're supposed to talk shit about me, essentially. But now that I've become Nerevarine and Hortator, they can use me and the plan to fight against Dagoth-Ur, despite the political disadvantage of actually revealing such a connection. So they want to probably... I wouldn't be surprised if that guy wants to keep it hush-hush and just get this sort of Black Ops thing done on below the... out of line of sight, and just deal with the problem while also maintaining face of pretending to think that I'm a heretic or something. Be warned, the Nerevarine cannot safely equip either Keening or Sunder unless wearing Wraithguard. The Nerevarine will be injured every moment while holding either of these artifacts until protected by Wraithguard. Persistence will be rewarded with death. If Nerevarine can equip an item while not wearing Wraithguard and receive no injury, the item is counterfeit. Ooh, that could come up later. So if I can test these items by hurting myself with them, basically. And if they don't harm me when I try to grab them, then that means that they're not real. That's interesting. One last note: Dagoth-Ur must not get hold of Wraithguard. The Nerevarine must prepare and use a recall or LCV intervention if there is any risk of death or capture. The element of surprise. Dagoth-Ur will not expect you to destroy Kagrenak's enchantments on the heart. He does not know it is possible, and he would not do it himself, and he knows we have never tried it. He will not believe anyone would want to sacrifice the promise of such power. Further, advancement in House Dagoth, as in all great houses, is by challenge and confrontation within the hierarchy. The Nerevarines' challenges and defeats of Ash Vampires and battles with the Sixth House will be viewed in that light. Dagoth-Ur and his kin may assume the Nerevarines' ambition is to control the heart. Given that assumption, it is only reasonable that the Nerevarine would try to defeat each of Dagoth-Ur's subordinates in turn, working up to Dagoth-Ur. If the Nerevarine can defeat Dagoth-Ur and control the heart, so much the better, but logically, the Nerevarine would wish rise as high in the hierarchy as possible, before cutting a deal with the head of the house. Dagoth-Ur should try to recruit the Nerevarine into House Dagoth. It may be possible to pretend to join him, then betray him. However, any attempt to deceive him will be very risky. House Dagoth has a tradition of subterfuge and treachery, and because he is a deceiver, he will accept deception. Closing remarks. We place no compulsion upon the Nerevarine to adhere to the plans described here. We believe that they offer the best chance of destroying Dagoth-Ur, but we have also chosen to place our trust in Neravarine's judgment and skill. Frankly, we see no alternative. If there are doubts or questions, speak with Vivek. He has agreed to serve as the Neravarine's guide and counselor for this campaign. It may be that if the Nerevarine succeeds, the Tribunal will not survive. Such sentiments as might have been expressed to the Tribunal should, in that case, be addressed to the land and people of Morrowind. May the happy convergence of fortune and prayer be in our destiny. On behalf of Lady Almalexia and Lord Sotha Sil, Vivek. God damn, that's an extensive one. That's a lot of planning for someone they haven't even talked to yet, which is interesting. That was one of the longest documents I've ever encountered in a video game, practically. And it scrolls like crazy. It's probably safe to just take this, right? Somehow I doubt that it's going to result in the destruction of the Tribunal. Maybe there's an option there that affects things, I guess, but like one of the expansions is called Tribunal. The expansions are called Bloodmoon and Tribunal, so it'd be really weird if we destroyed the Tribunal and then, like, what? Would that undo the entire expansion, or would we just do parallel quests that take place in that land that don't involve the Tribunal itself because the Tribunal is dead or something? I don't know. I don't have a great understanding of the landscape of the decisions you make in Tribunal expansion because I kind of fled the scene shortly after taking care of the fact that the Dark Brotherhood was always trying to kill me in my sleep, which was for a bit much. Let's see, dig out those plans. Battle of Red Mountain. Let's look at the plans. Are you a long one too? Yes, you are. Alright, buckle up, buckaroo. The following documents were prepared by temple scholars and agents of the Inquisition of Lord Vivek. From interrogation of captured sleepers and other 6th House cultists, from study of manuscripts written by cultists and victims of dream-induced mania, from interviews with Lord Vivek concerning historical campaigns against Red Mountain, and from broad conjectures and inferences made upon these materials. This is our best estimate of Dagothar's motivations and objectives in this most recent phase of its war upon Morrowind. Basic objectives. Establish a theocracy in Morrowind based on the worship of the newborn god Akulakan, second Numidium, to be created by Dagoth-Ur from the heart of Lorkhan, and a body constructed according to the principles and rituals pioneered by the Dwemer Kagrenak. Establish the ancient heirs of House Dagoth as the god priests of Akulakan, and the 6th House of Dagoth-Ur as the dominant political power in Morrowind. Through charismatic conversation, unite the Dunmer under the guidance of Dagoth-Ur to battle against the foreign animals who hold Morrowind in subjection. Note, Dagoth-Ur has apparently adopted the views and motives of the Dwemer High Craft Lord Kagrenak. In effect, he recapitulates the ancient blasphemous folly of the Dwemer. 2. Expose the false worship of the Tribunal and destroy the ecclesiastical authority and political power of the temple. How much the dissident priests or the cult of the Nerevarine may be controlled or influenced by the 6th House in this regard is open to speculation. Extirpate all remaining individuals of inferior and mongrel races from Morrowind. Drive the Empire from Morrowind. Recover ancient territory stolen by Skyrim and Argonia. Extend the worship of Akulakan to all nations of Tamriel through subversion and conquest. Plans to establish and expand the 6th House. Phase 1. Secure Red Mountain against Tribunal intruders. Deny Tribunal access to the heart, weakening the temple while securing Red Mountain for the creation of Akulakan. Keep the construction of 2nd Numidian a secret. Phase 2. Create passive servants in ever-widening circles around Red Mountain by broadcasting compulsions couched in deep dream imagery to susceptible subjects in their sleep. That's the sleepers we hear about, I believe. Establish a major operational base in Kogorun for further operations in the Ash Wastes. Establish smaller bases near small port villages and in lower-class waterfront districts in Vivek. Infiltrate and subvert smuggling syndicates. Recruit willing followers from disaffected populations, including the underworld, the poor, and rabid anti-imperial activists. Phase 3. Expand from smaller bases to other towns and villages, and recruit and indoctrinate subjects made susceptible by dream sendings. Occupy abandoned towers and ruins, and train corrupted cultists as raiders and irregular troops. Identify, discredit, and decimate possible sources of political resistance. Phase 4. Use assassination and terror to weaken, distract, and disrupt the legions and the imperial bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Wow. Don't know why that one was hard to pronounce. Along with their loyal sympathizers, inspire popular uprisings of the native poor against the foreign rich and powerful. Summon sleepers and dreamers to Dagoth-Ur to work on 2nd Numidium. Inferring Dagoth-Ur's perspectives. Dagoth-Ur thinks on a large time scale, for the most part in the outside of time scale of the divine consciousness. He thinks that only obstacles of mythic scale are worth consideration. He believes he is fated to rule Morrowind, to free Morrowind of the Empire, and to become the new hard-loving father of Morrowind. Given that perspective, the only opposing forces Dagoth-Ur worries about are the Tribunal, the Daedra, the Emperor, and the Incarnate. With the Tribunal's loss of Sunder and Keening, and with the diminished resources of Vivek, Almalexia, and Sotha Sil, Dagoth-Ur believes he has permanently gained a decisive strategic advantage. On a mortal timescale, the battle may last for centuries, but the outcome is not in doubt, and Akulakan may be a device for dramatically reducing the timescale for decisive victory. The myth of dynamic invincibility of the Emperor and the Empire has long been an unqualifiable and intimidating threat, but recent rumors of unrest in Cyrodiil, of the Emperor's failing health, and the unsettled question of the succession have diminished the scale of that threat. Nonetheless, the revelation that the Nerevarine is a pawn of Imperial intelligence, hand-picked and sent to Morrowind by the Emperor himself, may cause Dagoth-Ur considerable anxiety. The Daedra represents no coherent obstacle to Dagoth-Ur. Nonetheless, the personal abilities and their influence upon the fanatical followers are considerable, their motives and actions obscure, and Dagoth-Ur remains concerned about them. The Incarnate represents Saint Nerevar, a mythic force that has previously defeated Dagoth-Ur, and Dagoth-Ur is obsessed with this threat. At the same time, Dagoth-Ur knew Nerevar personally, knew that he was a mortal man with faults and weaknesses. Dagoth-Ur may have some hope of seducing or negotiating with Nerevar's reincarnation. Further, when Nerevar and the Tribunal defeated Dagoth-Ur, they were strong and allied. Now the Nerevarine and the Tribunal are weak, opposed, and divided. Therefore, though the Nerevarine and Tribunal represent the most serious threat to Dagoth-Ur's plans, he still has good reason to believe that this time he will prevail. In a recent timescale of Dagoth-Ur's activities, much of the following timescale is based on inference from incomplete information. Before 882, Dagoth-Ur and his kin lie dreaming beneath the sills of Red Mountain. 2e 882, Dagoth-Ur and his ash vampires awake, refreshed, and emerge from lower Red Mountain into the Heart Chamber. Dagoth-Ur ritually binds himself and his brethren as Heart Wights in a ritual of his own devising. First stages of the construction of Second Numidium, conceived during the Long Sleep, are begun by Heart Wights and Atronach constructs in a chamber near the heart of Lokan. Keeping the Second Numidium project a secret from the Tribunal is a high priority. The Tribunal arrive in Red Mountain for their annual ritual bathing in the Heart's power. Dagoth-Ur and Ash Vampires ambush the Tribunal. The Tribunes are driven away and prevented from restoring themselves to Krakenek's tools at the heart of Lokan. Over the next year, intermittent Tribunal campaigns assault Red Mountain. The Tribunal and supporting forces seek to force access to the Heart Chamber, but are repeatedly driven back. Dagoth-Ur recruits sleepers and dreamers through dream sendings. Cultists are recruited through dream compulsion. Weaker cultists become corpus beasts. Stronger cultists advance through stages towards the powers of the ascended sleepers. 8 years later, I think. What's the E for that? I think it's Third Era, but it starts after, I think. Kokorun occupied by Dagoth-Uthol and fortified as an advanced base for 6th House operations. Blight storms, more frequent and widespread. Soul sickness spreads in regions close to Red Mountain. 10 years later, the 6th House bases founded near Narmok and in waterfront areas of Vivek. 6th House operatives exploit smuggler organizations and communications to spread their influence among victims unbalanced by Dagoth-Ur's dream sendings. 5 years later, small cells of 6th House cultists in every town in Vardenfell. Larger 6th House operations are concealed in remote dungeons where creatures are bred and cultists are trained for the coming struggle. 2 years later, Almalexia and Sotha Sil lose the artifacts Keening and Sunder to Dagoth, Odros, and Vayman. Vivek rescues Almalexia and Sotha Sil, but failing to recover Keening and Sunder, the Tribunal retreat from Red Mountain in disorder. Surviving Buoyant Armiger companions know the Tribunal was forced to retreat, but do not know how serious a reversal the Tribunal has suffered. The three Tribunes return to their respective capitals and continue to perform their ritual functions. The tribunes continue to grow weaker without access to the heart, and because of resources required to support the ghost fence. The inner circle of the inner circle of the temple priesthood has begun to suspect the tribunes have suffered seriously from wounds and demoralization in the wake of reverses at Red Mountain, but do not recognize the scale of the problem. 26 to 27, campaign of 6th House assassinations of prominent Imperial citizens and Lalu Imperial sympathizers. Sudden increase in number and seriousness of attacks by cultists and victims deranged by soul sickness. Noted with concern, Dagoth Ur can apparently perceive and communicate directly through his cultists. Sleepers and dreamers are often reported speaking as though with Dagoth Ur's voice and intention. Little is known about the features, scale, or stage of completion of Almalexia Second Numidium. No one has gained entrance to the Heart Chamber since 282. In 417, Keening and Center were captured and may substantially aid in Almalexia's construction. Alright, so that was 417. The last thing we got was 427, was the assassinations. Okay. Is the current date listed in this game somewhere? Nope, what did I do? Let's not do that. Just says what day it is, but just says what day it is, but not what year it is here. Rain's Hand. Probably somewhere else in the game that I'm missing. Maybe the saves. And that's just that's real life dates. So nothing there. Alright. Let's make a new save regardless. This is really interesting to go through because it indicates that both the allies and the enemies have plans. And they're fairly realistic plans. Like, the allies are talking about having, like, multi-step acquisitions of important resources and exactly how you take out the heart and exactly how, like, we're gonna, like, divide different forces and deal with different problems amongst that group. Meanwhile, the enemy is also not just another faceless horde like many games have. Like, all the way down to even, like, Dragon Age will often just be like, they're, like, kind of zombie orcs, and they're led by a dragon monster, and they're all gonna attack. Like, it's really common to have situations where, like, the enemies are just simple. They're either, they want the one object that will make them win, or they just want to wipe everybody out. But, like, there are step-by-step instructions of how Dagoth Ur will likely be able to subvert power systems and take over certain people's minds and prioritize certain groups that are, like, more specifically volatile and vulnerable compared to the leadership, and then, like, work around from there and then expand out to all of the known world. And, like, there's actually, like, steps there that all, like, are way more thought up than even villains get, which is especially neat because we really don't get a lot of interaction with Dagoth Ur. He's not a very present villain, so, like, the like, that's just a step up. And it's definitely more than you expect, but it's probably a lot of another one of the many symptoms of why people like Morrowind specifically and cling on to it as these sequels fade. Because I can't speak for everyone, but it feels like the way that people talk about the Elder Scrolls game. Obviously, Skyrim took off like crazy. It's like the most popular game ever, or whatever. But, like, no one talks about, like, people talking about Oblivion is so rare now. But despite that, people still talk about Morrowind all the time. It comes up almost weirdly often. And I can't help but wonder, like, when they finally make an Elder Scrolls 6, if it's just as... if it's the same type of game as Oblivion and Morrowind, I mean, Oblivion and Skyrim all over again, I can't help but think that Skyrim will then be forgotten in lieu of this new game that essentially replaces the need for its existence the same way that Skyrim seems to have replaced Oblivion in people's heads forever. But, like, Morrowind might continue to maintain that headspace just because it represents something that modern Bethesda seems largely disinterested in following up on. We'll see. Either way, I have a lot more to dive through here.